Sometimes you can be pleasantly surprised and quietly appalled at a value proposition. Sometimes you pay absolute bottom dollar, but does that mean cheaping out? Or worse, a rip-off? Well, a bit of a mini-series on the cheapest I could find. I bought an EVGA GTX 480 from CEX in the UK, but how does that actually hold up in 2020? Especially considering that this card's 10-year anniversary is just around the corner. So, starting off then, the GTX 480. What is it? Well, the GTX 480 is a cut-down product of what it was originally meant to be, sporting some 480 of the originally designed 512 CUDA cores, and running on the Fermi microarchitecture at 40nm. It is one of the hottest cards that I have ever benchmarked. In fact, one of the hottest parts that I have ever benchmarked, and that is including a 4790K overclocked to hell underneath a Cryric C7. So she's hot, she's heavy, she sucks up power like you wouldn't believe, and despite the fact that she uses as much power as my GTX 1080, she still only gets about a fifth of performance on a good day. It also sports 2 DVI ports, a frankly frightening mini HDMI. It also comes with a free inbuilt George Foreman grill, and not to mention it also doubles as a space heater. But do not let the performance or the out-the-gate drawbacks put you off immediately, however. Like I said, this card was incredibly cheap. For only £25 plus an extra £1.50 shipping straight from CEX, I'd say that's pretty damn good. And after giving it a preemptive repasting with some Noctua NTH1, good stuff, highly recommended by the way, and putting it into my little mini PC over here, it actually ran pretty damn flawlessly. If you take in consideration the fact that it runs as hot as hell still, and of course it is as loud as hell to boot. Now, I originally wasn't planning on making a video about this card, but the more I played around with it, the more pleasantly surprised I was. Even using the 391.35 Nvidia drivers, which are, well, a far cry from anything modern, actually ran games like a champ. Starting off with something simple to not push that VRAM limitation too far, because it is only 1.5 gigs, it ran pretty well, which sort of encouraged me to try something else. Loading up World of Warships, I managed to get it up to, well, 1080p, ultra settings, with a smooth 60 FPS in battle. This boldened me, so I decided to go ahead and try out one of my usual GPU burners. Now, whilst it may not look it, XCOM 2 is a surprisingly hard game to run. Even my 1080 struggles to run it at times. So I loaded it up, and with the GTX 480, it ran it like a champ. Running it at fairly smooth 30 FPS at ultra settings at 1080p, but you got to keep in mind this is a turn-based game, so having it look that pretty, whilst only 30 FPS, that really isn't bad at all. Leading us to the following week, in which I've been running a ton of videos in order to gather enough time spare to benchmark this card properly, in which I decided to go ahead and do, well, standardised benchmark tests in my main rig over here at 1080p medium settings to, one, give it a fair chance, and two, give any future, potentially even weaker GPU a fair chance as well. Starting off with 3D Mark then. On Firestrike it achieved 3060 with a graphics score of 3491, followed by a total score of 665 in Time Spy, achieving a fairly meagre 578 on its graphics. Did I make a mistake? Well, following on from this, Cinebench R15's OpenGL bench achieved a pretty respectable 107.65 FPS average, which seems more realistic. Probably a VRAM limitation causing it issues earlier, and sure enough, in all the games tested that didn't hit the VRAM threshold, it ran like a champ. Achieving 87.1 average FPS in Tomb Raider with a low of 70 and a high of 104, which in all fairness is pretty damn good considering just how intensive a game it can be to run, and showing that whilst not the latest game here, you can still certainly play modern AAA titles on such a dated card. In Dirt Rally, it achieved a 93.33 average with again a 73.48 FPS low and a 114.52 FPS high. Bit of a trend developing here, but in fairness, Dirt Rally has always been notable for running excellently on, well, anything right down to a potato. In War Thunder's benchmarks, across all four it averaged out to about 99.4 FPS. with an absolute minimum of 63.3. Take that with a bit of salt though, as like I said, it was average, but still not a bad result, and more than playable if you are into War Thunder. After a lot of number crunching, the GTA 5 benchmark, well, it achieved an average of 103.12, with some wacky highs and lows, with a minimum of 1.9, which I didn't notice. I must have been looking away, and you'll understand why this was likely in a minute. An extreme high of 258.8 FPS, but looking at the frames rendered under 16 and 33 milliseconds, if this data is to be believed, for the entire benchmark, 99.94% of the frames rendered were running at 30 FPS or over, and some 99.7% were rendered at 60 FPS or over, which is an astonishingly high amount if it is accurate. Remember though, always take these results with a pinch of salt. My last benchmark that I like to call the OCCT burn-in test, a 30-minute cycle of the power test with AVX2 and GPU rendering at 1080p, it ran like a champ without any crashes, despite hitting some 100 degrees Celsius, but by the end it was making the whole system pour up to 470 watts on average and up to 512 watts at peaks. Not to mention the extra heat pushing the CPU to 83 degrees and hitting an average of 30 FPS on its rendering. Considering it's a 10-year-old card, I'd say that was not bad. Not bad at all. So, do I recommend this card? Maybe. Now, hold up! Don't get up into an uproar. This card does have its use cases. It is very, very cheap. And to be honest, if it is just, you're trying to get into gaming at all, or your main card's gone down and you just need a replacement as soon as, it's a pretty decent fit for that. But it does have two very, very important caveats: power and heat. If you do not have a sufficiently powerful power supply, or a sufficiently well built powerful supply, the 480 will kill your power supply. Also, if you do not have a sufficiently good CPU cooling solution, well, let's put it this way, it won't be the only thing that will be overheating with this GTX 480 thermal solution in your system. However, if you can avoid those issues, I honestly recommend getting it. Now, don't get me wrong, it does have other issues as well. For one, because of how old it is. A game like Sniper Elite, for example, despite how you may set the settings, it will always be looking as if it's running on absolute minimum. And even worse than that, if you play Forza Horizon 4, well, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to play it with this card. Likely due to DirectX 12 limitations as well as the limited VRAM, anytime it tries to load anything 3D, it just crashes straight to desktop. But on the other hand, if you like more esports games such as CSGO, War Thunder, or even World of Warships, I can honestly highly recommend this card, as it plays them flawlessly at 1080p and, well, like I said, they run pretty damn pretty as well. However, on the other hand as well, if you do get it for that case, well, it may be pretty, maybe a pretty damn good joy as well, and it might run flawlessly. But you are going to want to get yourself a headset, because this thing will run insanely loud. Oh yeah, and also, before I forget, again, the mini HDMI, for the love of God, use the DVI. Mini HDMI, bane of my existence. Since I've been trying to go ahead and do this video, I've been using a little mini HDMI to HDMI adapter. I should have probably gone from mini HDMI to HDMI cable, but we make mistakes, and oh boy, I made a mistake. The amount of times that thing has nearly just ripped clean off the mini HDMI side of it. Not broken off, but nearly so many times. It has been the bane of my existence, and I just missed DVI because of it. Anyway, to conclude then, if you can deal with all the caveats, even in 2020, I can actually recommend this card. It is, one, pretty damn beastie, and it is an absolute unit. Hell, it's a damn trooper at 900p and 1080p gaming. Plus, in the winter, at least you don't have to worry about having a winter heating bill, because, it comes in with it. That one seriously isn't a joke. Working around this thing has been like working in a tropical vacation. It's been that damn hot. But, yeah, highly recommend. You can probably get it on eBay or somewhere else pretty damn cheap. If you're in the UK, you can get it at CEX. And, yeah, fun card to play around with. You might not need it, but at the very least, it's nice to have a spare. Anyway, Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Links in the description below for the stuff featured today. Also in the description is the links for my Facebook, Twitch and Patreon page. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell for more content from me. And as always, this is the 117th con, signing off. Have a brilliant day, folks, and I will catch you all in the next one.